Hello everybody, Soundwave Spear back at it again with another video. So, before the video starts, I got, something pretty cool to show at the end of this, or somewhere in this review. I don't know. Alright, with that said, I'll get on with the video. So, this is Combiner Wars Inferno, that one figure that was readily available practically anywhere that you looked in early 2019. I saw like 6 of these in Disney World. I mean, it's literally, it was everywhere. Which is weird because, being Combiner Wars, you'd think that, at least its Combiner would have a name. But it doesn't, and yet this ended up being the one that got sold everywhere. Now, that's not saying that it's a bad figure, in terms of, how Inferno is. It's a little bit iffy, to be honest. Now, he does have kind of like a modernized, fire truck mode. Looks a little strange. You just see his head poking through there like it's in jail or something. I don't know. I mean, I guess he needs to be able to see to drive, but... So, articulation, you have a swivel at the wheel. You have a hinge right here that goes all the way back. And it spins. I guess you could do that. I can't see why you would. And then swivel. So, this one, I do have a problem with the stickers, in this line in particular, not really on this figure because they're a lot better, but, so a lot of them are like inside of pieces instead of just sitting there where they can be like rubbed off or something. So they've stayed in pretty good tact throughout the years. I don't know how I feel about it particularly, because it's not a bad figure. Some of you probably do think that it is, just because how its robot mode looks, but I do have a fix for that. So, for comparisons, here is G1 Astro Train. And here is Combiner Wars Megatron. Not Combiner Wars, Titan's Return. Gonna get a good idea of how big that one is. So, for transformation, well, actually, got a nice bit of detail right here at the front. There's room for just a hint of swoop in there. I don't know why you would want to. I kind of wish they had like little ports or something down in there, but it's just great detail. But not great detail, it's just like floor. So, sticking that back down. For accessories, he comes with some feet, an enigma of something. What that is, I have no idea. 2 guns. Those will come into play more in the other modes. So, for transformation into the normal robot mode, and I say that, you'll see why I said that. So first thing you want to do is you want to untab those and swing them all the way out to the side. Like so. Come down here to the bottom and do the best thing ever. It's very nice. Untab those, swing that down. A little trick for this is you have to angle these in, and then they'll snap into place, and a lot of people didn't notice that when the figure initially came out. So that way his knees don't just fall out of place all the time. Spinning those around. Set my camera up a little bit. To spin the arms down, untab them, swing them down, like so. Want to untab this, swing out the head. And then this is one of the things that I don't like a lot about the figure. What you have to do for this thing is you open up this, swing this back, and then fold this forward, and then you should tab it on the sides right there. You spin this thing around, and then you just put it back there. So, for this, it's not the best thing ever, and honestly, if this were all you could do with it, it probably would not be a very good figure. Because the only thing that it resembles of Inferno is the head. It's literally like, it's just some random background robot minus the head, which should not be, you don't see this kind of stuff like with Optimus Prime if they just made an Optimus Prime out of like a Megatron mold or something, just because it had like a truck or something that Optimus Prime ever turned into. This was just an example of the time when Hasbro got really lazy. Now, if this were it definitely would not be a very good figure. It's just, it's not how Inferno should be. I mean, this is now obsolete, of course, because we have Inferno coming for the Kingdom line, and the grapple mold and everything, so this is not going to stand the test of time very well. Yeah, it's kind of not good back here. He doesn't even have anywhere to store any of his weapons in this mode, unless you just want to give him his guns. Very little paint, which sometimes is good, because then you can play with it more. But in this case, it doesn't feel how it should, really. It's kind of like if Bumblebee didn't have like the top of the car as his chest, or even any car parts on his chest, it wouldn't look like Bumblebee. So why would that not go for this? Like, there's a difference between like a character redesign and they just wanted to pump out more figures. I mean, they use this mold like 4 times, like Overload. Not Overload, I don't think that's his name. Shoot, I forgot it. Hotspot. And then, like, the Ecto-1 figure. And I think it was in, like, Megatron, like a female Megatron that they use this for. So I guess it is a very versatile mode, but it still shouldn't have made this into Inferno. One thing that's kind of annoying is these mushroom pegs will constantly slip back like that. They'll never completely come out, but it's really annoying, because you're just moving the arm, and then they just slide back like that. And then the waist, or the hip joints right here, like, you have to keep them like that, or else it'll look weird. Put that out, and then you got them standing like that. So it's very strange. If you move this thing out of the way, it does have good articulation, but also, I say he balances really well, but it was just hitting the back of my thing. Now, getting a close-up on the head sculpt there. See, it's not bad, it's just it doesn't feel right. However, there is a fix for that. That's what I'm about to show you. So you take this, you untab it, just put it back down where it was. Untab those, tab that, bring that all the way down, and that should be able to squish up against the back like that. Bring this around, like so, but you want to make sure you close the head in. Bring this down, and for the dramatic reveal, I'm going to get everything else situated. So you bring that down, flip up that, and there you go. You got a good robot mode. It's not necessarily Inferno, but neither was the actual figure itself. I mean, this handles the fire truck kibble a lot better by wrapping it all the way around. Has a proportionate head, might I add, and the enigma of something, it actually goes somewhere in this mode. I mean, it's definitely a lot better than it was before, because you're not going to be able to get an Inferno out of this figure unless you just display him in vehicle mode, so you might as well have a good looking robot. So because you can do this, the figure is like 10 times better, because you can get like a good looking robot mode out of it. Putting that back a little bit, you can see it's very nice in this mode, better than the other robot mode. In fact, I rarely ever use that other robot mode. So, I guess now is better time as any to put it into its combined mode. Show you what that looks like. You can keep that piece in there. I just took it out so it'd be a little bit easier. So there's little corresponding tabs right here that'll go up here. Tab that in. This one is the same thing, but there's no extra piece, so it's just this tab. And then you put his shoulder skin flaps down, twist his head around, and untab those and tab them in again up here. There you got the combine mode. So I'll bring in some combiner limbs just to show you what this is going to look like. Now I'm kind of like still struggling with the whole combiner thing. I still only have enough to make one combiner, but this combiner didn't even have a name. It's just the fact that Inferno turns into a chest now, and I guess that happens. So, getting this done off camera will be a little bit easier since my setup is a little bit smaller than I would like. So, let's see. There he is in his combine mode. I'll zoom out in a second so you can see this a little bit better. Alright, so there he is in his combine mode. One of my biggest problems with this is the shoulder joints up here. See when, shoot, you can't see that. When you turn the shoulder joints like this, it's not the actual joints that turn, it's the shoulder, back here. Like, this piece will turn instead, unless you're turning it forward. Yeah, like that's really annoying because the tab barely does anything at all. So like when you're turning the arms and stuff, those will typically untab, which is really annoying. The feet that come with them, it's very tiny, but that's a general Combiner Wars problem, not specifically for this figure. So he's kind of like just the home for all combiner pieces that don't have a full combiner. So it's very proportionate. It's a lot better than some of the other Combiner Wars figures for the chest mode. It's a lot more proportionate than a lot of the other ones. It works well just about with any combiner or any combiner limbs that you have. Yeah, so it's very, very good, I would say. Because a lot like Ironhide, or a lot like Earthrise Ironhide, if you don't pay too much attention to it, then it's a really good figure. By the way, those of you who've seen that Earthrise Ironhide, tell me what you think about it down in the comments. I'm a little bit on the fence about it currently because it might be better in person than it is online. I mean, I can't say until I have it in person, so... Yeah, so there was Combiner Wars Inferno.